see is so flawed that they never hear him. I've been posting painfully. That's why it's so hard. Like, come down and we talk, and this become like my moment of therapy. Because it's hard for me. The problems is like not even wanting to get out. I've been preaching since 12. Right? So there ain't no point in come here playing about it. Since I started this journey, every sermon I put out, I feel it. I can't push it because I haven't felt it. That there's somewhere in this mix I've lost it. And I know I can find it, but part of me don't really care to. Pressure on the gospel. There's a weight that I put on me that I should feel about preaching that I don't feel anymore. When I tell you I'm sick of it, I'm sick of it. And that's where he looks for you. He looks for you mentally where you're done, but physically where you can't take anymore. And in your mindset, he walks through. He said, I can't go through with my body because it's too heavy. That's why it says his voice was found walking in the cool of the day. He doesn't trample in your life when you don't want him there. He softly calls you, right? Like that becomes like the heavy weight that like pulls me through. That becomes why I don't cuss them folk out or beat them folk up, son, or like go ahead and be like fuck everything and like give it all in, because he looks for me at like the hardest of moments and then finds me, because he never exits. He never walks away from the dream without accomplishing what his word went to do. You want to know how I know that he accomplished it? Here we go. If you forfeit the self-praise that God saw you worthy enough to wake you up, then we'll be just like the 1,000 waiting. Don't forfeit the ability that every morning it takes a ton to beat me to get up. Right? And not capping on the don't do it. Don't be full of pride, absolutely. But be full of like your humanity. There ain't nothing about me that should be. But he's still found worthy in me. And look for me. Right? We go through our list and be like, how many people he met, how many people he allowed, how many people he walked out of or died with. But this one, every morning, I didn't deserve it, but he did. He breathed life into me. He told Ezekiel, he says, I want you to speak to them, the dry bones. Is it your will that they live again? It's like, why are you asking me? It's up to you. He says, I guess they can live again. It says that they found them in the desert, right? Like bones started to click and clack together. They had no breath. They had no breath. They were moving, but not going nowhere. They could open their mouth, but no sound came out. And he said, God, there's a problem. There's so many people out here in the world who are just moving, making no noise, right? They're causing a disruption but having no sound. He says, because I didn't put my wind in. And you mean to tell me that you come all the way here, speaking the word, and won't acknowledge the wind? So I'll put it in you. But how are you going to use it? It says that he made him, told him, commissioned him. Ezekiel, this is what I want you to do. Speak to the wind. Once you begin to speak to your wind, then you can embody the breath that he gave you to wind. Every time you take it in, let it out that I can. Because he's my wind. You don't need nobody to humble you. You don't need nobody to sit you on the back of a pew. You don't need nobody to set the scene for you. need nobody to come, bro, I thank you, but you don't need nobody to come and self-affirm you. It's not big enough to be nothing enough, to know I am shallow enough, to still be grand enough that God still everything that is the little me with the big him, that we can come here and talk about it, right? In testimony projection form, that I'm coming out. Because he saw value in putting his wind in here. You know, I've been out for 3 days. I'm a day late. I'm a day late and $1 short. 3 days. I didn't fall under the weight of it. I just was out for 3 days. And I know that Jesus felt the weight of the cross 3 times on his way. Via the roast up the Golgotha. He was in the tomb 3 days, but he got up. See, but I missed Sunday. But I got up Monday. And I think somewhere in that, you have to allow yourself 3 days. Allow yourself to be beat down by the weight of the world. Go through that. That's day 1. And day 2, sometimes you just have to lay there and rest and recoup. And it's okay if you don't get up on day 2. Right? Stop putting that much pressure on you. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to me. Like, relieve yourself from that strain and that stress that you always have to by day 2. You don't. You can miss 2 and 3 and 4 of them. You can. Jeremiah, for some preacher out there, for whoever that's in ministry that's struggling, you can miss a week or 2. That's okay. Yeah. You are not who the world depends on. You are not like the epitome. You are just you. God chooses to use, but you have to take a human break from time to time. It's okay if you take a day 2. And you gotta allow your body to heal and rest and know that your mind is not God's. So you have to allow the mental and the human you to rest too. You can't be everybody's superhero. You can't be everybody's, Superman. Yeah. You can't be everybody's bad in the cave. Said that they'll put you in a cage and bury you if you keep on showing up for them what people don't require you to. He says, I need you to just rest. Right? It says Jesus was supposed to lay there 3 days and 3 nights. Not 3 and a quarter. Not 2 and 4. Even it out. Right? Let your night be equal to your day. Yeah. The time that you work, spend that same time in relaxing. The time you spend with them folk out there in the street, spend that same time with folk. I'm preaching to myself. Because you can give all your energy to these people out here in the world and like your family be at home dying. I hear you. Your family be at home dying. Or like no cap out on you. It's good when you can come down to like Huntsville to fellowship with a brother, but it makes no real significance if you can fellowship at home. I hear you. You want to minister, but forget the marriage. Minister and forget your children. It becomes important what you leave for tomorrow, but what is tomorrow if you like forfeit spending time with them today? Like you're worried about performing on the pulpit. You've been on the pulpit for when? For how long? Here's the pity in you preachers. Not y'all, you Jeremiah. Is that like you want to perform for the camera? We forget performing for the family. That's why nobody's interested. You preaching what you don't practice. Yeah, you practice it in like your own life, but do the people you live with see it? Because love is not love if nobody can feel it. Like, this does not make Jeremiah feel bad, God, but like if you don't tell me, I won't hear it, I won't know it, I won't see it. Yes, that's why it can't come from you, because then I'll take offense to it. But when God say it, you can't get mad at you for when you tell you what's right. He said, lay there. And sometimes I want to get up, and you can't. Because there's sometimes where like God is looking and finds us, but needs to deal with us. Where like if you lose, that's your cop out. It's like, I need you to lay down here. He said he put Adam to sleep, deep sleep. Where are we trying to run away? But God wants us to rest in Him. He says on, what was it? The seventh day, the Lord God rested. And Adam consequently went to sleep too. The man got up, but was Adam was supposed to keep laying down? I need you to lay down. Lay down and rest and know God takes care of it. Not just financials, Jeremiah takes care of personal, but where you're releasing for Him to manifest in like material stuff, manifest in the marriage. Manifest in like stuff that you don't find significant in like your body, right? Where like we don't talk about why you don't eat. We don't talk about like yeah, you can dress it up, but why you feel bad by looking at yourself. Like we don't talk about the exercise, the lack of. We don't talk about the hygiene, the lack of. We don't talk about that stuff because that like becomes real stuff, and we can't talk about that because that's not ministry, but it is. Because if you lose your mind, then what good are you to ministry? Just lay down for 2 days, lay down and deal with it, and let God deal with you. So God, I'm thankful for the journey. I'm thankful for the manifestation that you showed up, not only in Trevor, God, that you just show up in like the Trevor that I couldn't hear. Because regardless of what you say, I'm only going to hear a tiny bit of it because I'm still in my way. So you got to listen, and that's why you can't be interrupted. Because it don't need to be disputed nor like swayed either way. Well, I just need to play it back and listen. Because I won't hear it the first time. That's why it says he was found walking. Because he didn't step out and stand and call. Because it took more than one time. I don't have to feel comfortable. And like the most person who can make me feel comfortable is me. Well, I disarm me, so then I become ready for what you said. But I know you're not going to repeat it, but that's okay because that's why we recorded it. That's why you couldn't take a break. So I needed it. But had you said it and I'm not got it, I wouldn't have heard it. And then the third day he said he got it. Yeah. I know this is Monday and maybe we missed it, but Tuesday comes. And that's okay if you're still in day 2. He says I still look for you. Like I'm ready to go and get on the road because I feel like there's so much passion inside of me. But he's like, sit there and wait. I never got this. I do.
It's easy to forget about that. We get so caught up in everything else that we gotta do for the Lord. We forget the Lord wants us to love us.
He didn't say that Adam needed love. He said Adam needed him. There was so much love that he had for him. Let me help you distribute it to you. Like her job was to help him, not to take it from him.
Right.
We forget that your love for God is so serious that you needed help just to love Him because you got so much of it to give.
Yeah.
That the animals tapped out at one for each other. But for Adam, it was like he went through all of them. Distributing love, like this is how you do it. But they capped out at like one cow, one pig, like one horse. He said, but for Adam, there was no one who could like meet him at his capacity. Yeah. Like, let me make somebody that can help him see that his equal was me. And then he gets sidetracked because she's pretty, because she looks like me. But don't forget your first assignment. To love me. And I think we get so confused, right? I know I do. I get so confused with like everything that's in front of me. Forget the one who created me, right? I didn't need nobody back behind me to support me if I just looked back to see who created me. Well, like, yeah, we want her to be in that place, but that's not where she came from. She came from the rib of the man, not from my man.
I didn't have nothing.
It was the closest thing to his heart. But see, I'm sinful, so I can't touch him. Her job was not to replace him, only to show me clearer his love for me. It's the closest thing to him.
Yeah.
I think that's why we struggle with her so much, because it's like the closest thing to God's love, but it's not to replace it. It's supposed to cap off the show me it. No, I don't deserve somebody to still love me, even though I'm bad to them. I neglect them. But that's to show us the relationship that we're near and dear to his heart. So I can't have it come from any other place. It has to come from right here. I'll protect it. That's what I believe my skin. But I'll give it because that's what love would recommend.
That's why it's
to men.
so significant when it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Because the way God loves us is unwavering, is
Unmanipulated.
yeah, and look at those kids. You know, so you give like the who, but some of those kids who, oh, I hate you, mama, I hate you, daddy, and like the parent still shows them unconditional love. It's like in some aspects, like, don't we do that to them? Well, we may not say it, but like our actions.
So we say that.
And like we wanna, Lord, I wanna do your job or the job that you gave me so perfectly that I can give what you're talking to me to give me the assignment of what I need to be doing today.
Right? Hold on. I want to do what you're calling me to do, how I want to do what I think you're calling me to do. It's just like become so much of me. That's why there's been so much of a weight on it. That's why we get tired of it, sick of it, because there's too much of you in it. It's like I ain't call you to do that. I don't know what you're doing over there. I ain't call you to do that now. He's like ever chasing us, just to like if you think of the whole plan of salvation, right? Just from beginning to end, he's like forever chasing after you. He creates you, but he knows we're gonna put a human being before him, so he gives us her, and we still replace him, right? And he's like, well, if you don't see that, I know that you'll need to eat, right? So you'll like pray to God for your bread, so I'll become the bread, right? But Christ was born out of the house of Bethlehem, which means the house of bread. And we looked at him and didn't want him. We cast him to the side. It's like, well, I know you're gonna do that, but if it takes death to reassure you, then I'll allow you to crucify him. We did that, and it said that we began to worship the cross, right? And so he's like, well, if it's crosses that you want, I require you to bear yours, just like he bore his. And then like we can't handle it, so we bury it. It's like, well, if that's what you're gonna do, if you're gonna bury it, then I'll lay in the tomb with it. So when I rise again, you'll see not the significance of the cross, but the one who got up from it. And we do good in church because Thursday and Friday and all night Saturday until Sunday when he gets up, but we never raise him because it's us in our place, because the pride for me won't let the crucified me die and the crucified him live. So what does God do? All through creation, he's like chasing after you and me, and we still don't find him worthy enough to save me. And he's like, from the beginning, it was good, all the way down to the cross where it's finished, and we still doubt it. And he's like, that's okay. I'm God enough not to be offended. And what we do, we take it, morph it, change it, put a strain on it, and calling it preaching it. And that's like becomes the truth of the gospel.
And then he's like, tell people that he's offended.
Yeah.
And he says, who's offended? I didn't say I was offended. I said it's good.
And this is the God spell that we'll try and manipulate it. We'll try and like put caps on it. We'll put restrictions on it. And it becomes like the spell of God, because to be under his will of subjection is like a trance from like human reality. But is it really reality if we just make it up without God? He's like forever chasing us, man. We're forever running. Why are we running away from the voice that like becomes the most calmest, right? Like it's the calmest, coolest thing you've ever heard. And instead of us, like, think about this, right? Like, you get the calling and you want to run to do it, not run to stay and hear it, right? If God made you good, that's it. That's period. Now we doubt that because we struggle with sin, but we all do because we're made from sin. But He's like, I made you, and I thought it was good. If I thought it was bad, I would have told you. I didn't think that. I thought it was good, but you struggle with sin. To judge between whether it's good or it's bad, the knowledge of that is what's going to be the downfall of man, and we struggle with that. He's like, I just want you to be good. I told you that it's good. How many times have I got to tell you it's good? His hands made something bad? He didn't. Right. And like we struggle with that. But why do we struggle with that?
Do you know what's crazy about sand? So it's easy to walk and run and do like hop, skip, and jump on grass and dirt and like concrete and all that stuff that like is there. It's hard to run on sand.
Oh, you can't do it on sand.
It's sometimes hard to even walk.
Yeah.
You know why?
Tell me why.
Walking on you is difficult. Yeah. Understanding you is difficult.
Don't do it.
The more you walk on stuff that you come from, the more you start sinking in. So a lot of people only go to the beach, walk on sand during hot some days when the sand is a little bit harder, a little bit easier to walk on. Can you walk on sand during those rainy, muddy, I don't like it days? Can you sink into you all the way back down to the forming of you, the growth of you, the fact that God found you, made you, knew you before anybody else knew you. All of your hairs are counted. Can we do that? Can we walk on us? Can I, just because I can call out my sins, does that mean I can bear my sins? Does that mean I can walk on that? Because being able to walk on it, being able to bear your sins, or excuse me, being able to admit your sins, that's easy. That's one of the things that I feel like that's one of the easiest things. Especially when you don't really care about people. Can you bear? Can you walk? Can you deliver out of it? I think that's actually why it was very significant that God showed us the video that the young lady showed the people how to get out of this. Do you understand the significance in that? Because a lot of people would not know what to do. First reaction is to I'm push down or I'm gonna do something.
I was just gonna say that I think that's one of the problems. Is that we want to deal with it when we're not required to. When folk try and handle you, know that the ground that they stand on has no real weight to God because it's always sinking sand. The more you try and handle you, deal with you, pace for you, like work it out in your mind, the more you try and defend you, like they're always gonna find something wrong with you, whether you're too this or too that, or you're not enough of this or whatever. It's like at that point, watch what God does. When man can't handle you, God holds you. He says, I am the potter and you're the clay. That's the perfect time when you're quick sanded and don't no man want to really deal with you. When you've been caught in it, you don't keep traveling back to it. You got one time to get free to be like, nah, I'm not gonna do it now. It's just a couple white people who decide that they want to teach somebody. But most people in their right mind who's not saying, be like, nah, I'm not dealing with that no more. And they leave it alone. They learn from their lessons. But we haven't learned how to stay out of our own quicksand. So God is like, I'll take you by my hand. And I'll mold you, I'll make you. Since you want to be quicksand, since you want to be clay, then like, like understand that I form my own hands, so I become the potter's hand, right? It's like I form you, I mold you, I make you in whatever place you find yourself in. Like that becomes the good news of the gospel. If you want to be a mama, I'll be married. If you want to be a father, I'll be the father for the fatherless. If you want to be in the army, says I'll be the leader who fights for you. Just lift your hands and worship me. Whatever depiction you find yourself in, if you're a slave today, set my people free. If whatever you need me to be, you stand at a crossroads today, right? I don't know what I should do. Like part the Red Sea and go down the book. Go down the book. Whatever you find yourself in, whatever complicated space. It's like I just want to be noticed. Can you notice me? Not the Jaie, not the Trevor, not like the dude in the back, not the girl over there with the light. Can you notice me? That I'm still, but I'm quiet in the background until you acknowledge me.